Multidimensional characters, why they matter and how to build them. When readers say, "I couldn't put that book down," they're usually talking about the characters, not the plot twists. You can have a clever premise and beautiful prose, but if your characters feel flat, if they feel like cardboard cutouts, your story will not connect. That is, readers will not connect to your characters and therefore will not connect to your story. When readers do not connect, they stop reading, they complain about the story to their friends, and your book simply will not sell. This is a horrible ending to all your work, having slaved over your story for months, sometimes years. The truth is, characters matter more than plot. Hello, this is your host, Diann.Schindler, author, editor, and writing coach. Thank you so much for tuning in to my Craft of Writing video podcast playlist. In this video, we will talk about how to create multidimensional characters and how to avoid writing flat, non-engaging characters that lose your reader's interest. I'll explain why multidimensional characters matter. I'll show you clear examples of flat versus engaging characters, and then I'll walk you through practical steps you can use in your own writing. By the end, you'll have a simple checklist you can apply to any character you create. So, let's get to it. Why characters matter more than plot. So, in this talk, I want you to keep two concepts in mind. 1. Multidimensional characters, characters who feel human and layered. 2. Flat characters, characters who feel shallow, predictable, and uninteresting. I'll use those two terms, multidimensional characters and flat characters, over and over so they stick in your mind. What is a multidimensional character? Let's start with a clear definition. A multidimensional character feels like a real person. They have conflicting desires, what they want on the surface versus what they need deep down. That is, 1. Strengths and flaws that exist at the same time. 2. A past that shapes their present choices. 3. Behavior that is consistent but not completely predictable. 4. Different sides of themselves that appear in different relationships. A flat character, on the other hand, is defined by one trait. For example, he's the funny one, or the tough one, or the love interest. He is completely predictable in every situation. The character is lacking a meaningful backstory or inner life. He or she is described with vague labels instead of concrete details. This character, a flat character, is very boring. Let me give you an example to make this more concrete. Here's a flat character description. Detective Maria Lopez was smart and brave. Everyone on the force respected her. She never gave up on a case. Here, we're told Maria is smart and brave, but we don't feel it. There's no history, no quirk, no tension. Now let's read about Maria as a multidimensional character. By 3 a.m., Maria's contact lenses felt like sandpaper, but she refused to go home. If she went home, she'd sleep. If she slept, she'd dream. So, she poured more burnt coffee into a paper cup, pulled the same case file she'd been avoiding for 2 years, and told herself this time she would read it all the way through. In this version, we see she's driven. She's working at 3 a.m. She's avoiding something in her past, the old case file. Her stubbornness has an emotional cost. She doesn't want to dream. We have very specific details, sandpaper lenses, burnt coffee, that show us she is real. Yes, in both versions, Maria is a detective, but one is a flat character. The other is a multidimensional character. Why multidimensional characters matter. Now that we've defined our key terms, let's talk about why multidimensional characters matter so much. I'll give you 3 reasons. 1, they create emotional investment. 2, they drive the plot. 3, they make your themes real. First, let's look at emotional investment. The reader's emotional investment, that is. Readers don't cry, because a plot twist is clever. They cry because something happens to a character they care about. Simply put, multidimensional characters invite readers to care about what happens to them, how they feel, and engage with them. Flat characters do not engage with readers emotionally. Often, readers barely remember them, and this is not good for your novel. The second reason why multidimensional characters matter: they drive the plot. When your characters have real desires, fears, and internal conflicts, they make choices that move the story forward. But unfortunately, with flat characters, the plot drags them along like puppets on a string, and usually the reader puts the book down. Finally, the third reason: multidimensional characters make your themes real. Themes like forgiveness, power, or identity only become powerful when they are embodied in a specific person's struggle. A multidimensional character makes your themes concrete. A flat character feels preachy. So if you want readers to care, if you want your plot to feel organic, if you want your themes to land, and if you want your story to engage your readers, you need multidimensional characters, not flat characters. Now let's move into the practical part, the steps. Step 1. Give each character an external goal and, at the same time, an inner need. This step is about a character's motivation. To avoid flat characters, give each important character an external goal, what they consciously want, and an inner need, what they unconsciously need to grow. A character who just exists in the story will feel flat. Conversely, a character who wants something on the surface but needs something deeper becomes instantly more engaging, and that's what we want. Here's a flat version. James wants to win the court case because he hates losing. That's thin. He hates losing. Readers are thinking, so what? But here's a multidimensional version. James wants to win the court case because if he loses this one, his first case involving a drunk driver, he'll have to admit that his father's death might not have been the clean, blameless accident his family always insisted it was. Now, James's external goal is to win the case. His inner need is to face the truth about his father and about himself. The tension between goal and need makes him multidimensional. So, for each main character, ask yourself 2 questions. Repeat these phrases and fill in the blanks. On the surface, they want blank, and deep down, they need blank. This simple contrast will move you away from flat characters and toward multidimensional characters. Step 2. Combine strengths and flaws in connected ways. Step 2 is about complexity of personality. Flat characters are often all good or all bad. Multidimensional characters have strengths and flaws that are connected. For example, strength, fiercely loyal. Flaw, stays in harmful relationships far too long. Do you see how those two are related? The strength and the flaw grow from the same root. Okay, let's look at another example. Flat version. Lena was clumsy but adorable. But let's look at Lena when written as a multidimensional character. At parties, Lena laughed a little too loudly and waved her hands a little too wide. At least once a night she'd knock over a drink. People called her charming. The word felt like a polite way of saying they were relieved they weren't the ones apologizing to the waiter. Now we see her clumsiness in action, her self-consciousness about how others see her, a strength. She's lively and engaging that is tied to a vulnerability. Now, Lena is human. Think about it. We all have strengths and flaws that are related. So, when you design a character, ask, what is their strength? What is their flaw that grows from the same place? Connected strengths and flaws are a hallmark of multidimensional characters. Step 3. Give them a past that still echoes in the present. Step 3 is about backstory with impact. A flat backstory is just biography, where they grew up, what their parents did, On the other hand, a multi-dimensional backstory shows how the past shapes the present, especially in small habits and beliefs. Now, 2 examples for clarity. The flat version. Eli grew up in a small town. His parents divorced when he was 10. Now the multi-dimensional version. After the divorce, Eli spent weekdays in a quiet apartment with his mother, who labeled every jar and folded every grocery bag. Weekends were all noise and improvisation with his father, who might wake him at 5 a.m. for a spontaneous fishing trip, or forget to show up at all. As an adult, Eli keeps his socks in labeled boxes and never commits to weekend plans more than a day in advance. Here, Eli's present behavior, labeled boxes, reluctance to commit, comes directly from his past. Again, Eli is human. So ask yourself, what is one event from your character's past he or she rarely talks about? Then ask, how does that event show up today in one small habit or belief? Remember, when the past echoes in the present, you move from flat characters to multidimensional characters. Step 4, let them make real choices and real mistakes. Step 4 is about agency. What is agency, you ask? Good question. Let me explain. Character agency refers to the ability of a character to make choices and act independently, influencing the story's outcome through the character's decisions and actions. With that definition in mind, let's look at a flat character in this sense. A flat character just reacts. Things happen to them. But multidimensional characters take action. They make choices, sometimes bad ones, that change the story. Here's a flat version. The villain kidnapped Sarah, so Mark had to go rescue her. In this flat case, the villain took action and Mark simply reacts. Now Mark, as a multidimensional character, ignored the security team's warnings and insisted on walking Sarah home himself because he couldn't stand being told he was overreacting. When the kidnapper struck, Mark was arguing with her in a dark side street about how safe the neighborhood was. Now, Mark's flawed choice creates the problem. His pride and need to appear in control are part of the stakes. He has guilt to wrestle with. So, to avoid flat characters, ask, what decision does this character make that changes events? What flawed choice could they make that is honest for them, even if it's not smart? Real choices and real mistakes pull your characters out of flatness and into 3 dimensions. Step 5. Add human contradictions. Step 5 is about contradictions. Real people are full of contradictions, and conversely, flat characters are one note. Here's the flat version. Diana was fearless. That's a slogan, not a person. Here, the multidimensional version. Diana would charge into a burning building without a second thought, but she'd rewrite a text message 12 times before sending it to her sister. This contradiction makes us curious. Why is she brave here and terrified there? That curiosity is engagement, exactly what we need to pull our readers into the story and compel them to turn those pages, eager for more. So for each character, try this. Give them one visible contradiction. For example, the tough biker who secretly writes poetry, or the cheerful teacher who dreads parent-teacher conferences. Remember, contradiction is a powerful tool for turning a flat character into a multidimensional character. Step 6. Show them in different relationships. Step 6 is about context. People show different sides of themselves with different people. Flat characters look the same everywhere. Multidimensional characters change subtly with each relationship. If we only ever see a character in one context, say only at work or only at war, they risk feeling flat. Instead, consider how they act with a friend versus a boss, how they act with a parent versus a lover, how they act with a stranger versus a child. Each relationship reveals a different side. So ask, who are 2 or 3 important people in this character's life? How does this character's voice, posture, or behavior change with each one? By varying the relational context, you help the audience experience the character as a full multi-dimensional person. Step 7. Replace vague labels with specific details. Our final step, Step 7, is about showing instead of telling. And note, I have made videos and I have blogged about this topic many times. Be sure to check this video's description to access those links. Now let's continue with Step 7. Flat characters are often described with vague adjectives: kind, shy, angry. On the other hand, multidimensional characters are shown through specific actions and details. Flat version example. Tom was shy and didn't like crowds. That's a simple, boring summary. But read this multidimensional version. At office parties, Tom hovered near the snack table and pretended to study the ingredient list on the dip rather than risk joining any of the swirling conversations. If someone waved him over, he'd lift his empty cup like a shield and mouth, "Refill," before retreating to the relative safety of the kitchen. Now we see his shyness. We feel it. We can imagine it. The word choices show us and speak to our 5 senses, such as vision, touch, smell, hear, etc. Now the character steps off the page. So take 3 adjectives you've used, such as brave, jealous, generous, and ask, what's one small, concrete action that shows this trait in a scene? Specific details and word choices that appeal to our senses are the fastest ways to turn a flat description into a multi-dimensional character. Let's quickly review, repeating our 2 key terms: flat characters and multidimensional characters. To move from flat characters to multidimensional characters: 1. Give them an external goal and an inner need. 2. Connect their strengths and flaws. 3. Let their past echo in their present. 4. Make sure they choose, and sometimes choose badly. 5. Build in human contradictions. 6. Show them in multiple relationships. Use specific actions instead of vague labels. 7. Replace vague labels with specific details by showing rather than telling. If you apply even a few of these steps, goal and need, connected strengths and flaws, specific details, you will feel your characters deepen. They will start surprising you. And when your characters surprise you, they will almost certainly engage your readers. So, as you revise your current project, pick one character and ask, where do they feel flat? And then, which of these 7 steps can I use to make them more multidimensional? Start with one step on one character in one scene. That is how you move from flat, non-engaging characters to rich, human, multidimensional characters your readers will remember. Thank you for spending this time with me during this Craft of Writing video podcast. I hope this information resonated with you and you can incorporate these practices into your own writing. Leave a comment and tell us your thoughts, the challenges that you have faced when creating characters, for example. And share your ideas about how you have come in to make your protagonist and/or villain more human and engaging. Thank you again. This is Diann.Schindler signing off. Happy writing!